Hey all, welcome back to SLB Basement Bourbon Bar. I am Kurt Ludington, your resident host and bartender. Today we're going to have a little bit of fun. I whipped up a real simple old-fashioned, let's just call it a raspberry old-fashioned. It's a low ingredient cocktail, and I'm going to do a case in point study basically on this particular raspberry old-fashioned. I have a good buddy of mine, Brian, who enjoys, let's say, a whiskey cocktail, but he is not into whiskey that much to where he likes a very spirit-forward type of whiskey cocktail. He likes it dialed down. So we're going to mix this particular raspberry old-fashioned two different ways. One that's a little bit more spirit-forward, and I would say, in quotation marks, the correct way to mix an old-fashioned. And then we're going to mix it specifically, if Brian was visiting here at the Basement Bourbon Bar, something that I know that he would appreciate and he would like and is a whole lot more approachable. He also loves raspberry. That's why I included raspberry. All right, before we get started on this cocktail, if you do me a favor, please, and hit that subscribe button, that would help out tremendously. Once you've done that, hit that notification bell, and that way you won't miss a single episode of the show. And we would enjoy all of your comments. All right, let's get started here. Now, the original old-fashioned in my head, we're going to mix that first. A little bit more spirit-forward, but this is the way I would mix it, let's say for me, the way I would enjoy it. I'm going to start out with 3 dashes of chocolate bitters. Once I have that in there, I'm going to pour a 1/4 ounce of this raspberry gum syrup. Now, we're using Lieber raspberry gum syrup. I'm sure Trenton will drop a link for you. That way, if you want to get some, it's very, very good. I would highly recommend it. All right, once I have that in there, I have this white cacao. This Giffard stuff is just fabulous. So I'm just going to put in like a bar spoon. That's it. So a bar spoon of if you have a cream to cacao, even the dark one's fine. Today I have this white cacao available, so I'm going to put that in there. And then for the whiskey of the cocktail, I'm going to use a rye whiskey. I think the rye would play really well with the rest of the flavors going on in here. So I am going to choose for myself this Pikesville Rye. Now, this Pikesville Rye is delicious. It is definitely one of my top 5s in a reasonable price point for rye whiskey. I'm going to pour 2 full ounces. Now, what we need to pay attention to is this particular rye whiskey. This Pikesville Rye is 110 proof, 55 ABV. So it's going to pack a little bit of a punch. That's all the ingredients of this particular cocktail. I'm going to get some ice in that mixing glass, and we're going to give it a stir. All right, we're going to stir it down until we get a little bit of you feel a chill at the bottom of that mixing glass. Get some dilution in the cocktail. All right, that should do it. I have a single rocks glass ready to go with a beautiful clear cube of ice. For a garnish, I just have a single raspberry. We're going to pop that in. Oh, my ice is kind of getting in the way. Watch this, babe. Ooh. There we go. Got a single raspberry and a garnish pick, and that's my version of a raspberry old-fashioned. I'm going to give it a quick taste. I'm about ready to pick myself in the cheek. Let's do this. I find it to be pretty darn good. You can definitely get the raspberry. You can get a little bit of the cacao, a little bit of the chocolate flavor with the bitters too. But you definitely get a spirit-forward whiskey, and you get the rye flavors in with it too. A little bit of a punch from the ABV, right Right up my alley. Good. All right, I'm going to set this to the side, and we're going to work on the next one. Now, if Brian was here, visiting us here at the Basement Bourbon Bar, this is how I would make his raspberry old fashioned. I would start again with 3 dashes of chocolate bitters, but instead of a 1/4 ounce of raspberry syrup, this Lieber raspberry syrup, I'm going to pour a full 1/2 ounce. Once I've done that, I'm going to get this cacao, this chocolate liqueur, and I'm going to actually pour a full 1/4 ounce. So if you remember on the first cocktail that we made, it was a 1/4 ounce of raspberry syrup and just a bar spoon of the chocolate. For this one, we're pouring a full 1/2 ounce of the raspberry and now a 1/4 ounce, because we still want the flavors to be balanced. This one's going to be a little bit sweeter, a little less ABV, but the flavors, we still want to balance the flavors. All right, once we're done with that, I picked another rye whiskey for this particular cocktail. This is a Redwood Empire. It's a low budget type of bottle, but it's a very good rye whiskey, and this one is 90 proof, so 45 ABV. So you're cutting out 20 proof from the Pikesville to this Redwood Empire. So that also will give you the rye flavors, but give you a little less spirit forward cocktail. And once again, I'm going to pour in 2 full ounces of the rye whiskey, Redwood Empire. All right, that's all the ingredients of this version of the raspberry old fashioned. Let's get some ice, get this one cranking. Same thing here, we want to stir this cocktail until it's nice and chilly in the bottom of your glass. That'll give you the good amount of dilution as well. Control there. I might stir this one just a touch longer too, because a little bit more dilution will also make it just a little bit less spirit forward. There, that should work. I have another single rocks glass with another clear rock of ice ready to go. Got my strainer. Give this one a pour. Again. Same single raspberry and a Garnish pick. And there you have it. That's what I would refer to as Brian's version of a raspberry old fashioned. Let's give it a try. He would like this. He would enjoy this. Now, to be truthful, for me, I prefer the first one. That's just me though. I drink quite a bit more whiskey than Brian does. So this one here, although very well balanced, you get plenty of raspberry there. You can still get the chocolate on the back end. You got the rye flavors, but the ABV and the spirit of this particular old fashioned is way down compared to the first one. So this is just basically a case in point study. If you have people over at your house, or if you have your spouse that they really just don't like a high spirit forward type of a cocktail, you can find many ways to take that spirit level, that ABV level, and take it way down and still make a delicious cocktail. Now, there's some purist out there that's going to tell you you're wrong. You mixed it wrong. You should never mix it that way. I say bull and honky. That's what I say. I say if you like the cocktail, then you've done it right. That's what I say. If I mixed this for Brian, I can tell you 100% right now, if he was sitting right here at my bar and I mixed that, he would like it. And you know what? To me, that's a success. And that's the way I look at it. So hopefully we've all learned something here today. Thank you so much Hopefully we've all learned something today. I know I had an exceptional time mixing both of these particular cocktails. Had a great time. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, we ask you to please drink responsibly, and then we'll see you next time, right down here with me in the Basement Bourbon Bar. See ya.